Hello, I'm Tom Hudson, Executive Director of the South Carolina School Improvement Council. Welcome to this training, Basic SIC Duties. This is the third in a series of 3 video training modules on the roles and responsibilities of SICs. The series also includes the basics of organizing an SIC and the basics of operating an SIC. These videos were created as a companion to the SESIC Handbook, This is Your SIC, a Handbook for Effectiveness. The handbook is available in English and Spanish and can be downloaded from the SESIC website. You can also request printed copies from your SIC district contact. Sometimes figuring out what your SIC should be doing can seem a bit like this scene from Alice in Wonderland. Cat, where are you going? Alice, which way should I go? Cat, that depends on where you are going. Alice, I don't know. Cat, then it doesn't matter which way you go. Well, like Alice, your SIC may be asking, which way should we go? Ultimately, every SIC should be moving in a direction that is most likely to end in improved outcomes for students. In order to do that, however, your SIC will need to know where your school is starting from and what its destination is. Much of the information your SIC will need in order to find its direction should be contained in the school improvement plan. Depending upon the district, this plan may be referred to as the strategic plan, the renewal plan, the portfolio, or another name. These names all refer to the same document that we refer to here as the school improvement plan. Now, every K through 12 public school must prepare a school improvement plan in South Carolina and do so every 5 years and updated annually. Among other things, the plan should identify important school needs, contain goals for improvement in the areas of student achievement, teacher-administrator quality, and school climate, and include an action plan for each goal. Many schools and districts post school improvement plans on their website. If you can't find your school's plan online, ask your principal to provide you with a copy. Many school improvement plans are quite long. They can run over 100 pages in length. But don't be intimidated by this. Your SIC need not become an expert on every aspect of this document. If you don't look at anything else, try to find the pages that describe the school's goals and action plans for improvement. The parts of the plan that describe your school's goals will likely look the same or similar to the example here on the screen, which we've created for the fictional Happy Days Elementary School. The first row at the top of the page tells us the type of goal we're looking at. In this case, it's a school climate goal. Moving down the page, the next thing we see is the performance goal. This reads, by the end of school year 2019-20, at least 98% of parents will report that they are satisfied with the home-school relationship. This is the goal that the school hopes to reach by the end of the 5-year plan. In addition to having 5-year goals, schools should also have interim or short-term goals for each year covered by the plan. The interim goal for the current school year, 2016-17 in our example, is found directly under the performance goal. It reads, by the end of school year 2016-17, at least 92% of parents will report that they are satisfied with the home-school relationship. Continuing down the page, the next type of information provided in our example is the data source. This tells us where the school will get the data it plans to use to measure its progress. In this case, the school will use the results of a parent survey that the school and the SIC plan to conduct at the end of each school year. The last row on the left side of the page is titled Overall Measures. On the right side, we see a chart that has several rows and columns. The first column contains the average baseline. This is the percentage of parents, 82%, who were satisfied with the home-school relationship before the school began implementing the plan. Continuing to the right, we see 3 rows. The first row lists each school year covered by the plan. The second contains projected data, or the level of parent satisfaction the school hopes to see at the end of each year. These numbers gradually increase until they reach the 5-year goal of 98% at the end of the plan year. They are essentially the same as the school's interim and short-term goals for each year. The third row is where the school will enter the actual level of parent satisfaction as measured by the parent survey. Because the current year in our example is 2016-17, the chart only shows results for the end of the 2015-16 school year. Looking at the column for that year, we see that the projected data or interim goal was 89% parent satisfaction. And underneath that number, we see the actual level of parent satisfaction, according to the parent survey results, as 91%. So the school exceeded its goal for 2015-16 by 2 percentage points and is making better progress than it expected toward its 5-year goal of 98%. The school should continue to enter the results of its annual parent survey in the bottom row of this chart, so that everyone can continue to monitor the school's progress toward its 5-year goal. This next slide is similar to what your school's action plan will look like. At the top, we see that one of the school's strategies for increasing parent satisfaction is to create a welcoming environment for families. The activities that make up the strategy are listed in the column on the far left side of the page. These include inviting a diverse group of parents to visit the school and provide their feedback on their experience, taking responsive action based on that feedback received from the parent visitors, creating a podcast in English and Spanish that explains the procedures for parent visits during the school day, providing school staff with professional development on strategies to communicate effectively with all parents, and creating a family resource room. Next to each activity, we see information about the timeline for the activity, the person or group responsible for implementation, the estimated cost and sources of funding, and how the school will show that it has implemented the activity. Well, now that we've reviewed what a school improvement plan is, let's talk about how it's related to your SIC's work. First, SICs have an important role in creating the school improvement plan. They also assist the school in implementing plan activities. And finally, SICs monitor and report to parents and the community on their school's progress toward its improvement goals. Let's first look at the SIC's roles in creating the school improvement plan. Some of you may be glad to hear that the SIC is not responsible for writing the plan itself. Instead, the SIC's role is to ask questions, provide input, and offer feedback that will help identify and prioritize school needs, assist the school in developing goals that are challenging yet reasonable, encourage the school to consider and adopt research-based improvement activities and strategies, and help ensure that the school has a plan to monitor progress and evaluate plan results. In order for SIC participation to be meaningful, it must occur before the school makes final decisions about the plan. Simply asking an SIC to sign off on a plan after it's finished doesn't constitute the kind of active participation envisioned by state law and regulations for SICs. Once the plan is completed, the SIC's job is to work in partnership with its school to make sure the plan is fully implemented. A good first step is for the SIC to sit down with the principal and review the activities listed in the plan to see where the SIC can help. For example, imagine a school improvement plan that calls for the creation of an after-school tutoring program. The principal tells the SIC that the program is going well, but many students who need help can't attend because they ride the bus and can't get home if they stay late. This is a problem that the SIC might be able to help with. For example, it might find a community partner that is willing to work with the school and district to fund a late bus route or provide other transportation. Or if that's not an option, members might do some online research for ideas on how their school might use technology to bring students and tutors together. Imagine further that the principal in our example tells the SIC that she doesn't have enough volunteers to tutor all of the students who need assistance. An SIC could help with this problem by recruiting an organization or local employer to supply the needed volunteers. This is just one example of how an SIC might review an activity in a school improvement plan and find ways to help. If, however, your SIC can't find an activity in the plan to work on, don't stop there. Look at each goal in the plan again and explore whether there are additional activities that could help your school meet that goal. If you identify an activity that's a good fit for your school and SIC, get to work on planning and implementing it. We encourage SICs to look first to the school improvement plan when developing their own goals and activities because the school has already done a needs assessment and developed plan goals based on the results of this assessment. There may be items, however, where SICs want to address an area of need that is outside of the plan. Some common areas of concern for SICs include student health and fitness, or pedestrian and traffic safety in and around the school. While an SIC can address areas of need that are outside of the plan, it should first ask itself a couple of questions. First, do we have enough facts to conclude that this is an actual need and not just a perceived one? If not, your SIC should take the time to gather information from individuals directly affected, as well as individuals with some expertise in the area you're concerned with. Don't go forward based solely on the perception of a few individuals, however well-meaning, who believe that there is a problem but may not have all of the facts. The second question is whether the need is a school need or an individual need. The SIC is not the appropriate forum in which to address individual student needs or preferences. There should be other procedures available within the school to address those types of concerns. The SIC should be focused on activities that will benefit the school as a whole. Now, this doesn't mean that every SIC activity must directly benefit every student. Activities designed to close an achievement gap, for example, may specifically target the needs of struggling students, but raising their achievement level will also benefit the school as a whole. So we've talked about some ways that your SIC can take action to help improve your school. It's important to remember, however, that activity does not always equal results. This is something that is well understood in the world of sports. Teams are always keeping score, comparing win-loss records, looking at game films, and reviewing individual player statistics in order to evaluate the results of training and practice routines. If a team isn't getting winning results, routines and strategies are adjusted or changed in fairly short order. This kind of commitment to continuous improvement is just as important when it comes to your SIC and your school. First, your SIC should be monitoring and evaluating the results of its own activities. Your SIC can use tools such as surveys and focus groups to collect the data it needs to monitor its progress. In some cases, the school may already collect data that you can use to evaluate whether your activities are having an impact. You should feel free to call on SCSIC staff to help you make a plan to collect data and evaluate the results of your SIC's work. In addition, your SIC should actively participate in annual updates to your school's plan. Check each year to see if your school has met its interim goals for improvement. And if it hasn't, your SIC should be asking what needs to be done to get the school back on track. Sometimes interim goals aren't being met because the school lacks the training, resources, or other supports needed to implement activities in the plan. If that's the case at your school, ask what your SIC can do to help your school get what it needs. Sometimes activities are being implemented well, but they aren't producing the desired results. If that's the case, ask whether the activities simply need more time to work, or whether they need to be adjusted or replaced with something different. Don't wait 5 years before checking to see whether your school is meeting its interim goals for improvement. At that point, it will be too late to make adjustments that could have improved results. In addition to monitoring and evaluating results, SICs are required to report to parents and the community at large their school's progress toward improvement goals. SICs do this primarily through the annual SIC report to the parents and their contribution to the principal's narrative in the South Carolina School Report Card. The annual SIC report to the parents is an opportunity for your SIC to celebrate your school's accomplishments and to inform the community about your school's progress toward its improvement goals. It's also an opportunity for your SIC to publicize its own work on behalf of your school. It should be written primarily by the SIC itself, not the school or the district. Most reports to the parents include the following elements: a brief summary of school and SIC progress toward their goals, a brief explanation of any challenges or special circumstances facing the school, a list of important awards and honors earned by the school, its students, or its faculty, a summary of important test scores not already included in the South Carolina School Report Card, and a recognition of other programs or accomplishment that set your school apart from the rest. Now, here are a few tips to keep in mind as your SIC prepares its report to the parents. State law requires that the report be distributed by April 30th each year. This report should also be uploaded to the SCSIC member network by June 1st of each year. The report should include basic information about your SICs, such as member names, a method of contacting the SIC, and ways that interested individuals can get involved. The front page or cover of the report should make clear that it comes from the SIC and not the school. Use color, photos, graphics to make your report an appealing document that people will want to pick up and read. You can use the View the Members Read-Only function on the SCSIC member network to see examples of reports to the parents posted by other SICs across the state. You can also find more detailed information on preparing your report on our website at sic.sc.gov. Now, in addition to preparing the annual SIC report to the parents, SIC duties include assisting their principals in writing the narrative that now appears on the front page of the South Carolina School Report Card. That narrative should briefly describe the school and note goals, successes, and challenges for the year reported. The primary function of the narrative is to share the story of your school that statistics alone don't tell. Ask your principal how your SIC can help with this task. Well, this concludes our session on basic SIC duties. Here is a list of some of the additional resources that are available through our office. They include the SCSIC website at sic.sc.gov with free downloadable materials, lots of information, and helpful links. Our electronic newsletter, Council News, and periodic email updates in the loop on topics relevant to councils. Our very active Facebook and Twitter sites. A variety of training opportunities across the state, and ongoing technical assistance via telephone, email, and on-site visits. Thank you so very much for joining me for this training. Be sure to check out the other videos in this series, the basics of organizing an SIC and the basics of operating an SIC. And be sure to keep an eye out for information about our statewide SIC annual meeting and the Riley Award celebration held in March of every year. We also encourage all of our SICs to share their successes with our office. We'll publicize your work, and we can use your stories to teach and encourage other SICs. And lastly, thank you for donating your time and your talents to support quality public education in South Carolina. This is Tom Hudson. We'll see you soon.